had to feel it all. You grew up in the middle of a storm you didn't choose. The fear, the loneliness, the anger, and the losing and the blues. But everything you lived through, every tear and every wall, was giving you the knowing of what it feels like to fall. You can't speak to the broken if you've never felt the break. You can't reach the frightened if you've never learned to shake. You had to feel it all, every shade of every pain. You had to feel it all, the sunshine and the rain. Not by accident or cruelty, but by a wisdom old and deep. You had to feel it all, so others wouldn't have to weep. Waiting and the wondering, the silence of a house at war, the love that should have held you, and the fist behind the door. You felt all of these completely. You let them move all the way through. And now the one who's suffering can find themselves in you. No map can show the river to the one who's never swum. No comfort reaches deeper than from one who's felt it come. You had to feel it all, so love could speak through you. You had to feel it all, and now you know what to do. With every broken creature, every frightened heart and soul, you had to feel it all, and that has made you whole. Don't call the hard years wasted. Don't call the pain a price too high. Everything you lived became the language of your reply to everyone who needed someone who could understand. You had to feel it all, and now you're that someone's hand. You had to feel it all, every high and every low. You had to feel it all, so love could grow into something deep enough to reach the ones who hurt the most. You had to feel it all, and now love has found its pose. You've been apologizing for the space that you take up. You've been shrinking in the corners, trying not to overflow the cup. But the life you chose before you came was not a small life's plan. And the soul that chose this difficulty is more than any ordinary can. Not everyone can carry what you've carried on this road. Not everyone will choose to take on this particular load. You are not a small thing. Don't you dare shrink down. You are not a small thing. You were built to stand your ground. What you're doing here is rare. What you're doing takes a kind of strength. You are not a small thing. You were meant for this full length. The ones who've had the easy road won't know what you have learned. The ones who've never struggled through won't have what you have earned. In the depths of understanding, in the knowing of the real, the bigness that you carry is the bigness of your field. So when the world tries to make you smaller, when you start to disappear, remember what you chose to come here with and stand up straight and clear. You are not a small thing. You are large and wide. You are not a small thing. Let the big heart be your guide. Everything you've carried, every battle and every year, you are not a small thing. You were never meant to be small here. The rarest instruments require the most precise making, and the hardest lives produce the most extraordinary giving. You are not a small thing. Rise up into what you are. You are not a small thing. You have always been the star that somebody somewhere is navigating by tonight. You are not a small thing. You are someone's guiding light. You wanted her to give you what a mother's meant to give. You wanted her to show you how a loved child gets to live. But she couldn't give what wasn't there. She didn't have the knowing, and everything she couldn't do was quietly something growing. In you, the understanding. In you, the open hand. In you, the gentle reaching for what she couldn't understand. The gap was the gift. The empty space taught you to fill. The gap was the gift. The missing gave you skill. What she couldn't offer became what you had to find. The gap was the gift, and the finding shaped your mind. If she had done it perfectly, if she had given every need, you might have learned to receive it, but you never would have freed the part of you that reaches for the ones who can't explain, the part that reads the language was learning from you always, even as you thought you'd lost. And the love between you, complicated, was worth every single cost. The gap was the gift. It sent you searching on your own. The gap was the gift that led you all the way home, to the work that you were built for, to the hearts you'd come to tend. The gap was the gift, and a gift right to the end. Thank the hard ones for the making, thank the absence for the ache, that became the deep compassion you now bring for others' sake. The gap was the gift. Believe it even now, the gap was the gift. You couldn't see the how back then, when it was hurting, back when it felt so wrong. The gap was the gift, and the gift made you this strong. Heal with your heart. You tried to save them with your hands. You tried to give them shelter. You called the numbers, did the paperwork, and still the world went helter. And the ones you tried to rescue still disappeared from view. And you sat with all the helpless, wondering what else you could do. But what if physical rescue wasn't always what was needed? What if something deeper was what was really heeded? Heal with your heart when the hands have done their part. Heal with your heart, it was always there from the start. The love that moves through quietly, the presence in the room. Heal with your heart and watch the healing bloom. You couldn't bring them home forever, you couldn't fix the broken world, but you could sit beside the suffering and let the love unfurl. In the space between the helplessness and what the heart could give, that's where the deepest healing lives. That's where the hurting learns to live. Every failed attempt at rescuing was teaching you the way, not to fight against the suffering, but to love it where it lay. Heal with your heart, it reaches where the hands cannot. Heal with your heart, it's the greatest thing you've got. The silent understanding, the presence of the kind. Heal with your heart and leave the fear behind. The one who heals with presence, with the open, steady soul, does more makes the broken somehow whole. Heal with your heart, that's what you came to do. Heal with your heart, it was always inside you from the beginning of the beginning, from the very first heart ear. Heal with your heart and know that you are needed here. You measured your life against the others, the ones who took the standard road, who settled early, found their corner, and put down their traveling load. And sometimes that looked peaceful, sometimes that looked like rest, and you wondered if the wandering meant you'd fail the ordinary test. But every life has its own curriculum, every soul its own design, and the one who keeps on moving was never meant to walk the line. Not ordinary, and that's fine. You were built for something wider. Not ordinary, and that's fine. The road keeps getting brighter. Every turn that seemed like losing, every job that didn't last. Not ordinary, and that's fine. The learning came so fast. This profession and that calling, this city and the next, this feeling and the other. You've explored the whole complex map of human living, more than most will ever see. And the breadth of what you've gathered is the gift you came to be. The ordinary life is beautiful for those it's built to hold, but the ones who can't stay settled have a different story told, of collecting and of knowing, of a wider kind of view. Not ordinary, and that's fine. It was always built for you. Not ordinary, and that's fine. Ordinary has its own road. Not ordinary, and that's fine. You just carry a different load, one that takes you to the places where the settled never go. Not ordinary, and that's fine. You have so much more to know. There's a courage in the staying, and a courage in the leaving, and the path that keeps on opening is the one worth believing. Not ordinary, and that's fine. Love the road you're on. Every life is what it's meant to be, and yours was meant for this. Not ordinary, and that's fine. And nothing has been missed. You push until the signal arrives in ways you can't ignore. The body starts to whisper what the mind has kept in store. A quiet in the hearing, a tightness in the shoulders keep the signals coming clearly now. You haven't let yourself to sleep. The body is the wisest of all the voices that you own. It carries what the mind refuses. It speaks in every bone. Rest before the warning comes. Rest before the bell. Rest before the warning comes. Listen to what the body tells you long before the crisis, long before the breaking point. Rest before the warning comes, and put yourself back joint by joint and breath by breath. You think that rest is quitting. You think that pause means falling behind. But the child who plays all morning has the brightest, sharpest mind. And the one who sleeps completely wakes with more than they had before. Rest before the warning comes, and you will always have more. The most important work you do begins from a rested place, and the love you have for others needs the fuel of your own grace. Rest before the warning comes. It's not a sign of weak. Rest before the warning comes. It's the very thing you seek. The clarity, the patience, the capacity to give. Rest before the warning comes, and really start to live. Stop before the body stops you. Slow before the slowing is forced. The wisest ones have always known that rest is not the last resort. Rest before the warning comes. Today, not when it's late. Rest before the warning comes. Don't let the body wait. Everything you want to give, and every life you want to touch. Rest before the warning comes. You matter just as much. You've been carrying the anxious since before you learned its name. Waking in the early hours, playing and replaying the same fears that found you in the morning, fears that followed you to sleep. And the world felt so uncertain, and the uncertainty ran so deep. But what if all that anxious wasn't here to make you small? What if every worried morning was preparing you to stand tall? The anxiety was teaching you everything you'd need to know. The anxiety was teaching, and now you're free to go into the life that's waiting, without the weight of all that fear. The anxiety was teaching, and the lesson's finished here. It came from what you witnessed in the early, unprotected years. It wrapped itself around you to prepare you for what nears. The understanding of the frightened, of the ones who cannot speak, of the creature in the corner, of the soul that's grown so weak. You learn what fear feels like from the inside and the bone. And now the one who's frightened will never feel alone, because of you who felt it and who grew through it and through. The anxiety was teaching everything it needed to. The anxiety was teaching, now you know it from the start. The anxiety was teaching, let it go and free your heart. The years of waking worried were the years of coming to know. The anxiety was teaching, and now it's time to go. The alarm that woke you early in the cold and dark of night was sounding from the old world. You have come into the light of what you know and who you are and what you came to give. The anxiety was teaching, now you know enough to live. The anxiety was teaching, you can put it down today. The anxiety was teaching, and you've learned it every way. Now fill the space with fullness, with the knowing and the warmth. The anxiety was teaching, you've already weathered every storm. You always felt it easier beside the creatures of the field, who didn't need the language and who needed you to feel. Not the words, but the intention. Not the sentence, but the heart. And something in that silence was the truest kind of art. The dog who waits beside you doesn't ask you to explain, just sits inside the moment, through the sunshine and the rain and feel the heart directly. They receive what's really there. Animals understand, and they meet you everywhere. You spent your years in service to the creatures great and small, and everyone that moved through left their handprint on your wall of learning and of growing, of a love too deep for words, and the one who lives to feel them is the one the whole world needs heard. Because the language of the hurting, of the creature and the tree, is the same as the language spoken by the wounded, the afraid and free. Animals understand the pure and unguarded heart. Animals understand. From the very start, they taught you that love needs no translation, needs no careful thought. Animals understand, and they taught you what you sought. The one who speaks to creatures, who listens to the field, is the one who finds the places that the human world is sealed, and brings the love through anyway, in the oldest patient way. Animals understand, and through them so do you today. Animals understand, and so do you. Animals understand, and the world needs people who can hear what goes unspoken, can feel what can't be said. Animals understand, and by their wisdom you are led. She came to show you 2 years of all your living, poured into creatures' care. You gave your nights and mornings, and your everything was there. Beside the one who needed what no medicine could give, and in the giving everything, you learned another way to live. When the ones we love completely finally have to go, they leave us with the opening we couldn't have on our own. She came to show you what you didn't know you knew. She came to show you, and in the spring spirit flew back to where it always lived, but left the door so wide. She came to show you what lives on the other side. The nature and the spirit, the world behind the veil, the love that doesn't finish when the earthly body fails. All of this arrived in you the moment that you let the grief be what it needed and the love refused to set. Every angel wears a body for the time that love requires, and when the lesson has been given, the angel simply retires to the light from which it borrowed the beautiful brief form, and leaves you standing changed forever, standing in the warmth. She came to show you love is never really gone. She came to show you how to carry on with a heart that's been expanded by the losing and the grace. She came to show you love is found in every face. The ones who leave us early take nothing but the form, and in the space they leave behind, greatest gifts are born. She came to show you you were always on the right road. She came to show you how to carry the heaviest load with the lightest kind of spirit, with the widest open heart. She came to show you and gave you the very best start. You're already doing it. You wondered if you needed someone else to show the way. You searched for the certificate, the proof that it was okay to do the thing that you were born for, in the way that you were made. But the truth is you've been doing it since before the debts were paid. Since the child who felt the creature's hurt and sat with it in the rain. Since the one who couldn't walk past suffering without staying in the pain. You're already doing it. You have been from the start. You're already doing it. It lives inside your heart, not in the certification, not in someone else's name. You're already doing it. You came here already trained. The instinct that you carry is the teacher that you need, and the knowing in your body is the most reliable creed. So stop the second guessing, stop the searching for the proof. You're already doing it, and you've always held the truth. Ask the questions without shame. Say I don't know when you don't, and trust the which is more often than you want. You're already doing it. Just let it be enough. You're already doing it. Through the tender and the tough, the gift was given with the birth, and sharpened by the years. You're already doing it. Right through the joy and tears. The center that you're building, the work that's coming clear, was always in you waiting. It was always gonna be here, because you came here for exactly this, and exactly this you'll do. You're already doing it. The world is waiting for you. You're already doing it. Believe it from today. You're already doing it in the most extraordinary way. Not despite the hard years, but because of everyone. You're all